Boa tarde, pessoal. Queria agradecer primeiramente a todo mundo que está participando por participar de mais um mock class, né? Lembrando que a gente está atualmente na trilha de Business, Comunicação e Direito. Então, hoje a aula é uma Masterclass de empreendedorismo com o professor Luxin, da Lincoln Academy. Então, essa aula, pessoal, vai ser um pouquinho diferente. O professor Lu quer fazer um formato um pouco diferente. Então, ele pediu para todo mundo ligar a câmera e deixem seus microfones desligados ainda, mas ele quer ter o contato com vocês e durante a aula a gente quer interagir. Vocês podem escrever pelo chat, ele vai ouvir a ideia de vocês. Então, hoje vai ser uma aula um pouco diferente, então já vou pedindo para todo mundo ligar a câmera e ele vai tentar conversar com vocês. Então, podem, se todo mundo puder, por gentileza, ligar a câmera e vamos tentar participar, fazer uma aula um pouco diferente. A gente tem alguns recadinhos antes de começar a aula com o professor Lu. Então, primeiro, seguir a Efígie nas redes sociais, né? Então, Instagram, @EfígieEduca, o Telegram, a gente tem aqui o QR Code para vocês participarem, e a gente tem vários sorteios ao longo do ano, inclusive no fim dessa trilha, a gente também vai ter sorteios de brindes exclusivos para quem participar de pelo menos três aulas da trilha de business. Tá rolando agora um sorteio no Instagram, dentro de um post que vocês podem olhar diretamente, que a gente vai sortear um programa de pré-aconselhamento. Então, serão algumas aulas para vocês que têm interesse de estudar fora e querem descobrir melhor como é o processo de aplicação. Então, é só ir nesse post e seguir as regras de lá. E agora eu já vou passar diretamente para o professor Lu e a gente já vai começar. So, welcome, Professor Lu.
Boa tarde. So, real quick, Enrico, did you ask the question before we started?
No, you can have the question now, Professor.
Right. So let me share screen first and we'll go. Share screen. All right. Can you see the slide presentation?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So let me get to this screen. It's very important for me that each of you participate, but there's so many of you that it's going to be very difficult to do that with voice. So I'm trying to open the chat right now. Okay, and then now, before we start, I want you to think of one example of how you try to make money. It can be very simple. It could be something you're still doing, making money. But think of a business idea, an attempt to make money. We will use this example later, okay? Before I continue, I want to shout out to Alessandro. Thank you so much for turning on your video. I appreciate it because I need to see you going, yeah, oh, wow. It helps me a lot. So,
no problem.
The next thing I want you to do is to give me a 1 to 5 response. How do you feel right now? 1 is, man, I really don't want to be here and I want to go do something else. 5, you're excited, ready to go, ready to learn something. So throw it out in the chat. How are you feeling? Oh, thank you, Alessandro. 6, that's awesome. Cool. How about the rest of you guys? There we go. I see Pedro, Mayani. Awesome. Keep it coming, guys. This is what I need to know that what I'm talking about makes sense. Yasmin, Sophia, thank you, you guys. So this is working, all right? If you had your camera on, I would say, hey, yes or no, or something like this. That would be even more fun and quicker. But this will work in the chat, okay? So every so often, I'm gonna throw out a question and you throw your answers into the chat and we'll continue, okay? All right, so let's go. What are you hoping to learn from this? Write in the chat, what do you hope to learn or experience from this class? 1 hour from now, I love this class because. Put it in the chat right now. Alexander, I see you. Thank you so much for turning on the camera. Ah, that's honest. Okay, I don't know really what to expect, but I'm excited. That's awesome. Making money is fun. Yes, I agree. So yeah, the fact that all of you are excited, number 5 and above, we got a 6. That's good enough. You guys are being honest. Appreciate it. Let's go. So what is entrepreneurship? It's such a big word, not easy to say, but what is it? Anyone want to guess before I throw it out there to make it super clear for you guys? Yeah, I can see the reactions like, okay, I get it. Anyone want to try? It's a pretty big word. I get it, right? Let me make it easy here. Entrepreneurship, for me, set up a business, take on financial risk, hope you make money. You set up a business to make money, really. That's it. Okay, I hope you weren't expecting this super big, difficult answer, because I'm here to be real with you. I'm trying to give you something you can use right now, tomorrow, okay? So that's what entrepreneurship is. You set up a business, you take risk, you hope you make money. Entrepreneurship is not charity, okay? Charity is great, but you don't set up an organization to lose money, to give money in entrepreneurship. If you make money from your businesses, I do hope you give to charity. That's wonderful. But entrepreneurship is all about making money. Okay? Is that simple enough? Yeah? Okay, I see the All right, let's go. So then, what is marketing? Okay? Simple answer. Marketing is all about promoting and selling your product or service. Helps if you have data from market research, and it includes advertising. So marketing supports your entrepreneurship. Marketing supports your business, okay? They work together, but depending on who you are, they can be very different. Some people love one part of the entrepreneurship, other people like marketing. That's okay, but you need to know yourself and what the difference is. All right, so this is the question I want you to think about, maybe respond in chat. The definitions, the meaning's so easy when I tell you like this. But why is it so difficult? And it is. I will tell you, after a lifetime of doing this, it still scares me when I do something new. Why? I like the expressions on the video. You're thinking about it. That's great. So give me an honest answer. Why is marketing or entrepreneurship so difficult? I mean, people spend thousands, tens of thousands of US dollars trying to take courses, trying to learn from successful business people. So you know it's very important and it's not easy. But why? I love that, Alexander, because humans are inclined to stay in our comfort zone. Yep. So it suggests that to do entrepreneurship and marketing well, you have to do something uncomfortable. Go out of your comfort zone. I love that. Okay, so let's go in deeper. So honestly, here are a few challenges you need to solve to be a successful entrepreneur. You need to gather some money to make money. You've heard this before, right? You need money to make money. So starting out, where's the money? You don't have very much students. I get that. Unless you were born into a very wealthy family, not me, you have to get the money from somewhere. So this is where it gets uncomfortable, right? This is where Alexander's response makes sense. You have to ask people to give you the money. That's uncomfortable. I mean, how many of you have gone to your friends and go, can I please borrow some money? Like I need 100 reais to buy, something. Even that with a friend, it's already a little bit uncomfortable because you have to get past your pride. You have to borrow and then return it later on. You go, ooh, can I return it? That's stressful. So when you go out to an investor and you have to convince them to give you the money, that's even more uncomfortable, right? So capital takes money to make money. Mayani goes, you need an idea as well. Yes, you need a good idea, right? If it's a bad idea or bad product, you lose all of your money, and it happens a lot. Oh, wait, thank you for that. My slides are fixed. We're seeing the first slide. Oh, here we go. Can you see this now?
I think I'll fix it.
Thanks for that. Apologize for the frozen slide. Where are we? Here we go. So capital, it takes money to make money. Good ideas. It takes experience. All right. So when you do something you've never done before, you're going to make mistakes. We all know this, right? And it's not comfortable making mistakes either. But when you make a mistake, hopefully you learn from the mistake or go, that didn't go well. What do I need to do in the future to do better so that I don't have the same result? I improve. I have a positive outcome. I get closer to my goal. Experience takes time. You will make mistakes. And that goes back to you're doing something uncomfortable. The learning curve. Do you know it takes 2 to 4 mistakes for people who are committed, intelligent, seasoned entrepreneurs before a success occurs? And this is with a good product or idea. So think about that. 2 to 4 mistakes. These are people who are experienced in business, have lots of money, lots of experience. They're not afraid, actually have pretty good ideas of products. It still takes 2 to 4 mistakes before success comes. Then think about how much money you have to raise, right? If say your idea needs 10,000 reais, most of us, including myself when I was starting, as soon as we get the 10,000 reais, let's go, let's start the business. But what I'm saying is, what if you have to make 2 to 4 mistakes before you actually be successful? You will lose your 10,000, poof, gone. What you really need to be doing, according to the experience, you have to raise more like 20 to 40,000 reais, launch that same business, and after 2 to 4 mistakes of starting over, then you start to get traction and you climb. Because the first time you do it, something bad happens. Oh, I did not see that coming. I'm so embarrassed. Second time it explodes. I'm so close. Why did that happen? The third one, you're watching. And maybe you went to a similar place, but not your actual goal. And go, I got to start over and realign. Fourth time magic happens and you're successful. That is actually very common, very normal. So experience is very painful, very expensive. Now we come back to Alexander's comment, courage. It's so uncomfortable to make mistakes. I mean, seriously, how many of you like making mistakes? Not me, right? It's like every time I make a mistake, like I don't want to tell anybody about it. I'm so embarrassed. And yet, when you go and look at the icons of the business world, they're wealthy, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, they're talking about their success because none of us want to talk about our failures except for one, my hero, Elon Musk, the guy who does SpaceX and Tesla. He's crazy. Every time he goes up on stage, yes, we launched a rocket yesterday and it blew up. But before it blew up, we learned how to turn the rocket around so it will land properly. That's a $20 to $40 million rocket just went boom. And he goes up there and says, yes, we made another mistake, but look at what we learned in front of the whole world, not just his team, not just his investors. I mean, that's a real leader right there, because what he just did is to validate how uncomfortable learning is, how embarrassing making a mistake is, but how important the learning actually is above all of that. So Elon Musk, as a leader in entrepreneurship, way above all the other guys with lots of money, because they don't talk about their recent mistakes. Maybe when they were young, 30, 40 years ago, maybe in a previous business, but it takes a lot of courage to talk about your recent mistakes like Elon Musk does. Yeah, you guys are feeling me? So that's why I pay attention, because I get it. He inspires me. I feel just like him, right? I'm not perfect. I'm going to make the mistake. He's like, I'm there with you, man. Let's go. So one last thing, this thing right here, tradition versus startup. If you watch a business, when they start up, when they have nothing to lose, when nobody knows them, they are willing to take huge risk because nobody knows them. They have nothing to lose. They try everything, go all or nothing, all in every time. But as they get known and they experience success, at some point, it is very tempting for them to not talk about the transparent vulnerability of making the mistakes anymore. They want to protect their reputation. They want to talk about what they're going to do in the future, and they hide the mistakes. That's very sad because they lose their entrepreneurial spirit. And that's when they lose me. Someone like me needs to see that they're willing to take the same risk they did when they started up. Okay? All right. Let's take a look about this. So the difference between tradition versus innovation. History lesson time, guys. You guys know Apple. Apple's dominating now. But do you guys actually know IBM, International Business Machines? Some of you do. That's cool. Okay. IBM started out in the US in the 1960s specifically to help NASA start the space program because they wanted to shoot that rocket to the moon. And at that time, believe this, they had what they called a human computer, people who knew calculus completely well. I mean, scary good. And they put a room of these mathematicians together and they do the manual equations for how to shoot the rocket, what angle, what speed to hit the moon. And if 3 of them agree, they launch. If only 2 of them agree and one go, oh, I didn't get the same answer, they don't launch. They recompute the numbers. That's it, Alexander, hidden figures. It's amazing what they were doing. So these were humans doing the mathematics to launch this trajectory to the moon. IBM comes along and goes, I have a machine to do that for you. No one had heard of the computer before, but they did the computations alongside with the humans. And actually quite accurate after a few debugging situations. And that's how IBM got their start with NASA. How they went from launching rockets to convincing big businesses that like banks and airlines, corporations, that they need to have a $1 million, multi-million-dollar machine that takes up a whole room, maybe even a whole building, because it can launch rockets. I don't know, but that was amazing marketing. Nonetheless, IBM took off, got really famous, and at some point convinced just about every business around the world, you need a computer. We call it a mainframe. We'll put it in your building, in your business, and we'll put lots and lots of computer terminals, and you'll use that, and your business will become successful. I don't think that was really true, but it was great marketing, and people believed it, and everyone wanted an IBM supercomputer. Apple shows up in the 80s going, I don't think so. No. We think instead of buying the giant big box computer that sits in the room, we're going to give you a little computer, little is this, put it on every person's desk, and you will scale it up. IBM looked at that. They had the technology to follow, but it's like, nah, I don't think this will work. You know how much your computer is going to be? It'd be like $10,000 US. No way, nobody would buy it. But Steve Jobs was also very convincing. So he managed to market his idea. He quit school from it, and he started selling personal computers, which became smaller, became the technology we know today. It turned into iPods, iPads, iPhones. And now, today, Apple is everywhere. And you expect Apple to be cool. You expect Apple to be good, right? What happened is IBM became successful, became known for something, and they were not willing to change directions. They were not willing to pivot. That momentum of success prevented them to follow the success of Apple, who was starting out, nothing to lose, and dove right in and completely changed direction. Since that point, IBM has been trying to chase down Apple, never catching up, getting close, but never really recovered in the computing industry. True story. And that is something all of us can go through. And I've gone through that many times in my businesses where just as I start to get success, I want to return in my comfort zone. Remember what Alexander said? Because I don't want to feel uncomfortable anymore. I don't want to feel scared all the time. So I take less risks. I play the safe thing. And then I lose my edge. Okay, so you need to keep that lesson in the forefront of your mind if you want to be an entrepreneur. Get used to feeling uncomfortable. Get used to feeling stretched a lot, frequently, because that is my strongest predictor of success. If you show me how courageous you are, I can predict how successful an entrepreneur you're going to be. All right, let's keep going. So what did I do? Okay. And then after this, you're going to hit the chat with what you guys have done so far. So starting out, I was shamelessly lending money to my friends because you'll spend all their allowance money the first few days of getting it. So say your parents gave you, 100 real for pocket money in Sunday. My friends would spend all the money on Monday. Poof, everything's gone. And then on Tuesday, Lucian, can I borrow 10 real? I'm like, man, really? Again? But I got smart. All right, I'll give you 10 real, but when you pay me back, you give me 11. It's like, cool. It's like, yeah, that's fine. So I'm like, cool, man. Sure, here's 10 real. And I know I'm going to get 1 real in interest. And you know where this is going to go. This is simply what banks do, right? They lend you money, charge interest, you pay it back. They make money off your business. So that's what I did when I was very young because I was pretty good with my money. I was also a yacht delivery captain. It was the first job, first work I did that was not with an employer. So I was a self-employed person. I know it's a crazy story. I went to school for it. I thought it was really all that. And I went out into the market and people were like, I don't want to trust you with my $10 million boat because if I'm right, boat's gonna be fine. If I'm wrong, no more $10 million boat. So why would they trust me, right? They don't know who I am. So the first thing about entrepreneurship I had to learn, it was beyond marketing. I had to develop a reputation. I had to earn people's trust. It's the same reason, same thing you have to do to get their money. They have to believe you, they have to trust you, and then they invest money in your idea. Sounds familiar? So from my first really, really bad year of please pick me, I was so depressed. And I was crazy because at the end of that year, I was so desperate. There was one job that no other boat captain was going to take. That was because the storms were coming in and all the other captains had gone to other places to work where it's safer to run the boat. Me, I was desperate, I'll do it. And everyone's like, good luck. And so 3 days later of huge storms, the boat was solid, it could handle it. But me, the whole time freaking out, giant waves. The first night I get the boat to the dock safely, I tie it off, I crawl up onto land and I'm shaking like a baby, just freaked out because I know there was 2 more days of that. At the end of the 3rd day, I'm so embarrassed because I knew I made a huge mistake taking that job, harder than I ever expected. So I was going to go and hide myself and someone go, hey, you took that boat from Singapore to Phuket, Thailand, right? That's you. It's like, oh, I'm so sorry. No, that's a cool story. Come tell us about it. So he brought me into his group. We sat down, and I'm still shaking from it. And he was like, no, tell us all about the ventures. That's amazing. So I did. And I realized in that moment when I was ready to quit because I made a mistake, I was so embarrassed, opportunity hit. And that's when I realized no matter how you're feeling, you have to be watching for opportunities because they'll come at you at the weirdest times when you might not be ready for it. And so I did. I pulled myself together, told the story. They laughed. They said, hey, here, come over here, tell this table that story. And that's how I got my start in yacht delivery. And within a month from that, I was making money. By year 3, I made 35,000 US dollars cash in my pocket. Never had any expenses because I ran the boats with owners attached. I never bought a boat, so I didn't have any real expenses. All of it was pure profit. But it came right as I was going to quit. And again, I want you to keep that in your mind because that was crazy. And I was about to close my eyes and give up. All right, so opportunity comes when you least expect it, especially after a huge mistake, if you're willing to learn from it. The third thing I did was to become a real estate agent because I heard, oh, people make money from real estate. My job as a real estate agent was okay. I was one of the top agents. I was selling 3 to 5 properties every month. So I was one of the top agents. Decent amount of money, but not super wealthy. What I learned from the people who invested in real estate, bought a lot of rent income. Not the most exciting, but you buy 100,000 real home, you rent it for 1,000 real a month, you make about 10% on your investment of 100,000 real. 10% return, it's decent. It's better than what the bank will give you. But where they really made the money wasn't flipping the house where you buy and sell and make it better and you sell for a higher price. It's when they started designating the property. So maybe you buy a commercial property and in the tax code, I can change this from commercial to private. Then they rewrite the thing and now you split the property into several pieces and you build houses on them and you sell. That's where they made the most money because they can use the money from the banks. They just hire a lawyer to change the designation of the property. And when you build houses on things like that, crazy money. So just to give you numerical terms, when I was a real estate agent, I was making 50 to 80,000 US dollars a year. It's not bad. And it goes up and down because based on commission. A rent property, as I already said, is about 10% on your investment, which is pretty good. The guys who were rewriting the pieces of property and building houses and selling, they were making $500,000 per deal. That's where the money's at. So yeah, you have to learn a little bit about the tax code and the property code. So boring. You have to look at the market and know what you're doing. So boring. $500,000? Not so boring, right? So that's where I invest my time now. Yeah. So are we doing good so far? Are you guys feeling me? Yeah. All right. We can keep going. So this is where you give me some examples of your life. What have you done to try and make money? Throw it in the chat. Meanwhile, I'm going to look at the chat feed. Oh yeah, Mayani. Michael Keaton. How he built his reputation, became a huge businessman, became McDonald's. Oh, nice. Alexander, emotionally extort my parents. Oh, wow. Okay. You might be a great salesman someday if you can accomplish that. What else have you guys done to try and make money in your life? Here are a couple of prompts. Have any of you bought something that broke and you repair it and sell it again? Alessandro, I tried making food at home with my parents and selling it, but it was too exhausting. Okay, that's an entrepreneurial idea, but what you're saying is it wasn't worth the investment, right? The investment of time, effort, that just, I'd rather make my money some other way. That's important self-awareness. Because just because I like making money one way, if it fits me, doesn't necessarily fit you. So you need to know this. Mayani used to teach classes like tutoring. Yeah, some of these are more job-like, but they can become entrepreneurial and become innovative. Working hard. Here's how you can tell that you are working a job versus a business idea. When your business that you start as an entrepreneur is successful, there should be no limit of how big it can grow, how much money you can make, because it's entirely scalable. When you work really hard for an employer, for a company, there's a range in how much they might promote you and you make more money, but it's not open-ended. For example, you cannot go up to your boss and go, all right, I have an idea. How about I give you 1 year worth of work and you pay me the whole year and I do it all in 1 month and the rest of the 11 months I go on vacation. How about that? Your employer is not necessarily going to do that. What they want to do is pay you 1 month at a time and get a certain amount of work. You can't do that because of the limitations of employment. You can do that in your own business because that's how you want to work. That's something you can control. So it's open-ended. Yeah. Yasmin said, make a product look cheaper than it is. I think I understand that. Do you mean like, I'm a little bit confused about that. Can you help me understand? Do you mean you price a product cheaper than it is so that you undercut the market maybe? Comment on that, I'll come back to you. So let's go with this while we're waiting. You guys know what that is on the screen? Yeah, it's an AirPods, right? AirPods 2. Well, no, this looks like an AirPods 1. So just like other Apple products, AirPods, when they came out, everyone wanted to have AirPods for many reasons. Some people like the sound quality. Some people just thought the wireless technology was crazy good. At some point, it was a cool thing, right? Anybody walking around with a white thing hanging out their ear, oh, you got the latest product. And you were kind of cool because you couldn't get enough of them in the market so everyone could have one. So for a time, hey, I got the AirPods. The thing about it is when they launched AirPods 2, Apple had to make a very important choice. This is where the marketing comes in. They had to ask themselves, how big is this market? How many people already own AirPods 1 that will buy AirPods 2 or might not buy yet? So that's the market research. They need to know what's the potential sales for AirPods 2. They want to know how many other who would buy it AirPods 2 have already bought one, how many still want one. Then the other thing they actually have to worry about is, when do you bring it out? Because you have AirPods 1 still selling. Do you bring out AirPods 2 really quickly and then potentially take away sales of AirPods 1 and then everyone just wants AirPods 2? Right? And then once you solve all that, the next thing they have to figure out is, why would people want the AirPods 2? So these are some of the market questions that Apple actually solved. And it is very common to any business that is fairly established. At some point, you have to answer these questions to get bigger. You have to solve these issues well so that you don't lose momentum or you lose the full return on what you could get. Because you cannibalize one product with the newer one. So what I wanted to show you here is once you solve all of these questions, how do you sell benefits versus features? So can you tell me about the AirPods 2? What do you like about AirPods 2? Fair enough, Mayani. So you didn't think there was a whole lot of difference in the AirPods 2? Alexander's a Samsung person. I like Samsung too. Android. Woohoo. I actually have iPhone now. I have to admit, I crossed over. So throw me some features. If you guys know the AirPod 1, toss it out there. What do you think is significant about the AirPods 1 or 2? Let's give it with some context. If you're trying to sell me a dinosaur to go from wired earbuds with the wire still to go to an AirPod product that's wireless, what do you think would be useful to me? Because I don't own wireless earbuds yet. I only use the wired ones, and I'll tell you why in a bit. How would you sell me the AirPod product? New design features. Okay, yeah. AirPod is more convenient. Alessandro, you're going down a good path. Tell me how it's more convenient. Mayani says battery life is great. You can run with it and it won't fall. Okay, so that's cool. So if I was worried about battery life, I now am assured that battery life of an AirPod is good. I can run with it and won't fall. How about the wired ones? Let's talk about why should you change from a wired earbud to a wireless if I'm running? Alexander goes, you're not limited to the size of the cables, meaning you can go 30 feet with the Bluetooth, right? And you're not limited by the length of the wire or the cable. Yeah. Enzo says it's compact, easy to carry. So are the wired ones. You can roll it up and put it in a small case too, but keep going on that. You guys are starting to think. I'm enjoying this. Keep going. Keep thinking. Because Apple no longer has a headphone jack. If I pronounce it correctly, Lace, that was really rude for Apple to do when they killed the little hole jack, right? The round one that you put in. People like me, I cannot use the wired ones unless I buy that stupid adapter. So yeah, they were very cheeky when they did that. Mayani, so it has a location feature, so you can track one if you lose it. That also answers a concern. I mean, it's easier to keep track with the wired ones because you can see the cable. What if I drop that little earbud? How do I find it? Okay, find my earbud. Okay, that's cool. So you guys are starting to think about it, and I'm starting to turn each of these features into something important to me, a benefit. Most of us are comfortable talking about features, but you need to take it one step further to talk about them in a way that it impacts the person you're selling to in a way that they care. Because if I don't care about the style, the size, the convenience, I'm still not going to buy it. But going back to, yeah, that's exactly what Alexander's saying. Going back to the convenience, I was getting to it. I keep tripping on the cable on the wired earbuds. Like if I'm talking and I'm dancing and I'm flinging my hands, pop, I hit the cable, it rips it out of my ear. It's really annoying. If you have a wireless AirPod, that doesn't happen. You might shake your head so hard that the AirPod jumps out, but you rarely do that. So that feature, if you took it to the point, hey, Lucian, Mr. Tan, if you bought the AirPods, you will never swipe the cable again, and it will not shoot out of your ear and rip on your ear and ruin your vibe. That's a feature that became a benefit. At that point, I go, I should consider a wireless earbud. But then I'll ask, why not the Samsung, right? So that's the conversation that you've got to do when you're selling somebody. You got a good idea, you got a good product. You will know all the features because you're intimately acquainted with your product or service because that's your thing. But when you're talking to someone, you need to ask them enough questions to know what they really care about. Then you sell them the benefits. You know what? When you buy this, your life improves this way. Then they're willing to spend the money. Okay, when you get there, close it. Don't even spend more time. So, Mr. Tan, have you heard enough about my product, my AirPod, for you to buy a set now? It's like, I'm getting there, but I still have a few more concerns. Now, what's the battery life? At that point, my conversation shifts from, I don't want to hear anything, to, I would like to buy it, but answer these questions before I commit. Then you get excited because you're getting really close. Okay, you guys still feeling me? Does that make sense? All right, I love that response in the chat. Good job, guys. That was a lot of very useful input. Let's continue. So this slide summarizes what we just talked about. Features tell you what your product can do. Benefits tell you why it matters to your customer. Simple as that. Okay, and if you learn to do that, man, you're gonna be an amazing salesperson. And the person, I forget who it was, I think it was Alexander, who says you extort your parents. I expect great things from you, man. Try it with your friends, because if you can do that, try selling something tough and make some money. All right. So, what time are we? Ooh, time is going fast. So at this point, I normally throw out a lot of questions and examples. But I think what would be more useful, because you guys are so interactive, is to summarize what we talked about so far and then turn around and ask you questions. What questions do you have? Do you want me to give you more information, details on the process? Because we went through a lot of stuff fast. But I want you to see that this entrepreneurship marketing process is not just about creating businesses. This is applicable in relationships. So when you think about the person you have a crush on, a cute guy, a cute girl, you can think about it. What's that person? What do they care about? It's like, oh, they care about people who are clean and neat and smell good. It's like, oh, so you're gonna create the product, right? I'm well dressed and groomed, I smell good, right? Because you need to get yourself ready for the person, and then you sell yourself in some ways, in a good way. So it is applicable in your relationships, and for that matter, when you apply to your school, when you go to apply to my school or some other boarding school, for sure in your university, when you write the application, don't just talk about what you've done, what your grades, your test scores, and where you've been. Those are features. Read about the school on their website. They will tell you what's important to them. And then when you realize, ooh, this is a school that cares about cause, this school that cares about reputation. Talk about when you went into Para, into the Amazonia, and you did this ecological project for the environment. Or, you went to network with who's who of Forbes in Brazil, because it's a school that cares about reputation. Sell the benefits. When you enroll me, I'm going to bring my experience and my passion for saving the environment to your school. You see where I'm getting with that? Job applications, job promotions, career positioning. What a lot of people don't realize about entrepreneurship, marketing, and professional sales. The concepts you do, the courage that you learn, the discomfort you're willing to carry, is applicable in all of these areas. And then you become a much stronger person because you're promoting yourself. You see the opportunities that fit you and only you. Somebody else might go, that's a terrible thing to do. That's a terrible job. But for you, it's like, I really want that. And you put yourself in a place, you position yourself in the way of opportunity and you get what you want. That's how it's done. All right. I think I've talked enough. It's now 2:45, 3:45 in Brazil. What questions do you have? I'm opening it to the floor. Do you have any tips working with Patreon? I'm not sure what Patreon is. Can you guys help me understand what that is? Lais had an interesting question. It's a funding platform. No. Is it like a crowdsource?
Yeah, it's like a crowdsource. So you can have any project and people are volunteer to send some contribution.
So it's crowdfunding for digital creators. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to ask then is, Lais, what is your craft? What do you create that you want money from a crowdsourcing platform? Because that will help me narrow my answer. I don't want to give you a generic response. So give me some idea of what kind of art do you create, artistic expression, and I'll give you some ideas. Modifications to games. So what I would do, because obviously you are a gamer to be able to understand what mods work on a game, you're going to have to test market and get some support from other gamers and go, Lais, man, every time I drop your mod, it makes the game, totally buffed, or, I dominate, something like that, and you have a following. You take that support and go to Patreon, and demonstrate it. What you don't want to do is just show up and go, hey, hi, I want to be funded for a mod. I hope to do this. No, show them, demonstrate it. Even if it's a few people, if it's a strong enough response, they'll go, wow, this guy is starting out. I want to scoop him up early. Maybe I'll fund a little bit at a time to see what happens. But a lot of entrepreneurs want to go in early, but they want to see you demonstrate what you're doing. They don't want a dream that hasn't been touched. They want you to demonstrate proven success. And it can be a little bit and very early on, but you need to take that next step, right? So I would say, gather all your school friends who game like you do, ask them to try your mod, get the feedback, take that, go to semi-professional, professional gamers, let them try it, go, whoa, this is amazing, this game changer. Take that to Patreon, demonstrate it. That will be how I will approach them. Helpful? No problem. What else, guys? Alessandro, would you say that leadership is a teachable skill or talent? How do I respond without getting myself in trouble? I don't trust a chef who does not eat the food they cook. I don't trust a teacher who is not currently learning. I don't follow an entrepreneur who's not doing uncomfortable things. So if you're talking about leaders who are demonstrating and doing what they are talking about, absolutely. It's one and the same thing. They're still learning. It may or may not be something that they're good at because they're less shy about themselves, less shy overall. But the fact that they're still doing it, it means they're teachable and they're going to get even bigger. If you're talking about somebody who stopped pushing their craft, oh, look at me, I'm successful. And when I was younger, 20 years ago, I struggled like you, but welcome. And I look forward to having you join my success club. That person, I don't know. Did they inherit the power, the wealth from from relatives who says, here, son, here, daughter, ta-da, you're rich and powerful now. They might not have to learn anything, right? Did they struggle early on and do what it takes, but now they're so embarrassed what they had to do that they don't want to talk about it? Don't know. It can go either way, but someone like Elon Musk, he's definitely learning and still doing it. So yeah, he's very teachable, and I fully believe that in 10 years' time, he will be even more amazing. Does that answer your question? Cool. What else? I love this. Keep going. We have a few minutes left. I'll keep talking until Enrico says no more. Keep going, guys.
Yeah, we have time for more questions. So if you want to type in the chat, so Professor Lu can answer to you. But I also invite everyone to open your microphones to ask something. Now it's time to we have this interaction. So perhaps we will have another question.
Oh, hi everyone. My name is Ivo Santos from Viamundo. I just want to say that Viamundo is very happy that we brought Lucien here before and could make all these connections, and all these projects are happening, and he can share with you guys all his knowledge and do the masterclass. We feel very happy about that, to see this being multiplied, that we brought this project with him in February, and now we see that is spreading out for other institutions and for more students. So just want to thank you guys from UNDB to open the doors for Lucien to do that. And Lucien, we are waiting for you here, okay?
Muito saudade. I get it.
Muita saudade de você.
So yeah, so you know, guys, what you're getting today, I used to charge $1,000 a day for companies and general managers and CEOs to attend. So just take it. It's free. It's my gift to you. Don't be shy. Throw out questions. The only silly question I've come across is something I just answered. All right. So if you ask a question and I just answered, I give you the answer, a little bit embarrassing. But other than that, throw it out there. Enzo asks, have you ever invested in stocks? Yeah, and I lost a lot of money. And here's why. A lot of people think you're investing in stocks. Really, you're gambling in stocks because you don't put in enough money, enough time and learning, that's me, to understand what you're putting money into. Do you even know the business that this company you're investing does? Do you know when they'll be successful? When the economy goes better, do they make money? In what conditions? If the economy goes down, when do they lose money? If you don't even know that basic information, how do you make an intelligent bet? You're just gambling, right? The thing goes up, it goes down. Hopefully I get out after I make money. That's not really investing. In order to invest in stocks, you really have to understand the context of the company that you're investing in the marketplace, have a long enough timeline so that you're not stressed out by the micro changes, which are a lot of times manipulated by the big investors. Because historically, if you can keep it in the market, keep your money in the market for about 7 to 10 years, you will make money on a stock well picked. And then you will also know when to go in and buy the stock and when to sell it and come out. That's really important because it's not what the stock made on paper. It's the money you make when you sell the stock and you put the money in your pocket. All right. So I have invested in stocks. No, I have put money in stocks and lost a lot of money because I was gambling. I was not investing. So I'm not willing to put in all that time and energy to learn it because it's a lot. Okay. With the idea of the gig economy, would you suggest that as young professionals specialize in some area of expertise? I am a strong proponent of a second skill. So whatever your dream career is, whatever you're going to school for, go for it. I mean, you might get there, you might get there really soon, but a lot of times we got to eat, right? So that's your gig, that's your second job. It's what you do to pay the bills, to time extend so that you can get the career, the degree you want, to get the career you want to go. And it could be anything. It could be what you talked about, tutoring English. It could be extorting money from people who love you and investing the money so that you can bring them a fair return. It could be anything. But yes, a lot of people hold out on the dream and they starve on the way there. It sucks, right? Do the gigs, get good at them so that when you need the cash, you can do it at any time. So yes, I'm a strong proponent of finding a second skill. In terms of what I would suggest that you get, it has to be something you can do well, better than other people, easier than other people, so that the money is easier for you. Don't pick the hardest thing to do. Like if dishwashing paid well, but nobody else liked it, but you did, for some reason you geek out over dishwashing, go for it. It might not be for anybody else. Who cares what people think about lowly dishwashing? If it makes enough money for you, do it, because you will always find somebody or some restaurant that needs dishes washed. Okay, that's an example I can give. But if dishwashing is a pain for you, don't like being wet, it's hot, your hands get itchy, probably not a good gig for you. Hope that helped. How do you build a successful customer base? Loyalty. You guys who game, obviously those who game, you know League of Legends, right? LOL. League of Legends has an amazing story. When they brought out their online game to the masses for the first esports convention, before it was even known as esports, they overdrove the infrastructure. They rented a giant auditorium, they brought everyone in there, and just as they started the final game, internet crashes, to everyone's horror, because it soaked up so much internet bandwidth from everyone in there trying to stream back out. And the final game, they restarted that game something like a ridiculous number of times, more than 10 times. You can imagine the finalists, the amount of stress they went through, playing the game, about to win, go, hang, and restart, and restart, and restart. Obviously, they were upset. Obviously, the fans who paid money to be there to see the esport, they were upset. League of Legends, I forget the publishing house who did that, and they were very new at the time. They came out, apologized, and they did something really special. Says, guys, I know all of you are disappointed. We're gonna have to end this today for the sake of the contestants. You're so tired. Let's give them a round of applause. For you guys in an audience, we're gonna refund your tickets for sure. In addition to that, we are gonna let you take whatever swag you want free of charge in our swag booth. And then as a gift to you, we're gonna give you 1 year subscription to the live thing. Thank you. That sounded like Basilar. Anyways, where was I? So they didn't just refund the money, which was fair. They went further and says, we're going to reward you, give you all the swag you can carry for free, and we're going to give you 1 year to their annual pass. The crowd cheered. So how do you build a successful customer base? You create loyalty. You create adoration. At that moment, I think the organizers of League of Legends won that whole crowd over, because what was an epic disaster was turned into an unprecedented show of support. Does that make sense? So every chance you can, show your customer they're important. Demonstrate it. Don't just say it. Demonstrate it. Give them something, attention, a discount, something that make them feel special. Wow, only you guys get that. And then that loyalty would hold, and people say, you know what, I just got from Mayani, I bought something from their store a second time, and this is what they did. Oh, psh, that's how you grow it. And then they'll tell more and more people, because I believe word of mouth is the most powerful and sustainable way of growing your customer base. So thanks for that question. Who else? Oh, I see more people on camera. That's awesome. I see Julia. Thanks for coming up. Who else wants to jump in with questions?
Gabriella's also turned on.
Yep, I see the
And
Gabriella's camera. Thank you.
I believe Alessandro wants to make a question.
Yeah, hi.
Hello.
How is a large corporation different than a startup?
So from an entrepreneurial perspective, right? Because there are many, many differences. So usually when you start up, the people who are starting up become the leaders of the corporation, right? Unless there's sellouts and takeovers and stuff like that along the way. So if you look at Apple as a startup, when Steve Jobs was selling home-built computers out of his garage versus Apple as a corporation before he passed away, the key difference I see is risk management. So remember what I said about somebody who's starting out versus someone who's established. When Steve Jobs was starting up, he was so agile and desperate. It's like, all right, Alessandro, I got this machine. I'm willing to customize it any way you want. What do you want in your dream computer? Because he wanted a sale, right? And to get a sale was more important than to get one with a good price, right? That's not the time to get cheap on your first few customers. So you better believe that Apple in its infancy, when they were starting up, was creating product that had ridiculous value, probably things that they would never have dreamed of putting into a machine just to give Alessandro what you want to get my first sale, to get my first 10 sales, my first 100 sales. When you fast forward to Apple today, or even a few years ago when Steve Jobs was around, quite a different story. I mean, you're lucky to take a device that's not working right back into your Apple store and go, I bought this yesterday, it's not working right. And you know they're supposed to replace it, but it's a pain in the rear to get it done. You have to fill out paperwork. You don't get an exchange. You got to mail it in. You have to wait, come back sometime, pick it. It's not the same, right? Because corporations have rules. The distribution's gigantic. It's understandable, but it's not as relatable. The relationship is not one-to-one anymore. The corporation, if they're interested, has to work a lot harder to please you, the customer. McDonald's does that really well. I don't know about Brazil, but in the US and many parts of the world, if you're not even happy with the meal, you tell the manager, they'll give you something for free. Just to say, I'm sorry about your bad experience, come back. It's not necessarily free meal from that time. They might give you food from the line. Hey, can I make that again for you? Go ahead and enjoy what you have, but I'll make it for you again. Or more likely, they give you a coupon for the next time. Because McDonald's as a corporation absolutely wants you, the customer, to be super happy when you think McDonald's. It's not, my fries are cold and soggy, they did nothing. In fact, they laughed at me. No, they want you to walk away going, McDonald's. Okay, that's the difference.
Cool. And I also think that sometimes startups want to sell the company and not the product. So the idea is to make like a big name and then sell the startup. And a big company wants, on the contrary, to sell a product.
Yeah. So now I'm looking at the time. Before we close out, and I'll hand it off to Enrico after this statement. Guys, please rate this session from a scale of 1 to 5. 1 going, oh my God, I wasted an hour of my time. 5 being, wow, this was more than what I exceeded. Throw it out in the chat. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate that very much. So for those of you who threw out contributions. Thank you so much for actively participating. That's exactly what we do at Lincoln Academy. All of our teachers, even online, they do this. They don't always expect cameras because we know that, at home it can get a little crazy. But this is what we mean by active learning. And if you enjoyed this session, it's probably because you had to think, you had to give something, and there's more energy. It is more tiring, but hopefully, like me, you feel this is more satisfying and a better way to learn. So with that, muito obrigado. Boa tarde. I'm handing this over to Enrico.
So I would like to thank Professor Lu. It was really, really interesting, and also all the participants that you make a lot of questions, and hope we can see you on the next mock classes. So bye everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Ciao.
Bye bye. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you so much, Professor Lu. Bye.